Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because, well, I've got a real puzzle for us to solve. For this deep dive, I'm going to ask you to step into my shoes for a bit as the town historian. You know, every community has its secrets, right? Those whispered rumors passed down from generation to generation. But today, we're unpacking our community's most chilling and, honestly, most deeply entrenched piece of local folklore. We're looking at a phenomenon that literally defies logic, science, and time itself. It's a story that has consumed my own historical research for years. We aren't just looking at some simple, spooky campfire ghost story today. We are examining a documented, recurring anomaly that happens right in our own backyard. So let's just dive right into the whole shebang. The train arrives every year. No one ever leaves. Just let that sink in for a second. It sounds like a line straight out of a Hollywood screenplay, doesn't it? It certainly sets a pretty suspenseful tone for the mystery we're about to untangle. But here's the thing. This is the dark reality our town faces every single year. Look, as a historian, I deal in facts. I deal in ledgers, birth certificates, town charters. But how on earth do you catalog an event that breaks every rule of reality? We have a literal locomotive that materializes on a strict, terrifying schedule, bringing with it an atmosphere so thick with dread that it drives locals and investigators alike completely to the edge of reason. What is it delivering? Who is it for? And why, despite the doors opening, does the platform stay entirely empty? So, let's get right into part 1, the 3:33 a.m. arrival. Now, you might be wondering, does this just happen randomly? Absolutely not. It is highly, almost impossibly specific. 3:33 a.m. Every single year, on the exact same night, at this exact minute in the early morning darkness, the silence of our small town station is just completely shattered. Imagine you're standing on that platform at 3:32 a.m. You'll see absolutely nothing but empty, modern tracks. But the second the clock strikes 3:33, the air temperature literally plummets. A thick, eerie fog rolls in out of nowhere, blanketing the whole platform in this unnatural, dense white mist. And then, the sound hits you. It's the undeniable, heavy, screeching metal of an old, rusty train rolling into the station. We're talking about a massive, decaying relic of a bygone era, just weeping rust and completely covered in this blinding fog. It shouldn't even be able to run on modern tracks, let alone run completely silently until the exact moment of its arrival. Yet, at 3:33 a.m., without fail, there it is. That brings us to part 2, Echoes on the Empty Train. Okay, so the true terror really begins right after those massive iron wheels grind to a halt. Because I want to be clear, this isn't just some collective hallucination. We have tangible, physical anomalies going on here. The moment those heavy doors slowly slide open to reveal completely empty seats, all technology in the vicinity is thrown into total chaos. The station security cameras instantly glitch out, recording nothing but static or super distorted, corrupted frames. The digital and analog clocks on the platform, they just stop completely, frozen in time. And the overhead station lights start violently flickering, casting these long, erratic shadows through the fog. This kind of physical disruption points to a massive electromagnetic disturbance, or honestly, maybe a total breakdown of the localized environment itself. For the few minutes this train sits at the station, the normal laws of physics in our town are basically just completely suspended. And that brings us to the human element. The chilling witness reports from the brave, or let's be real, foolish locals who have actually dared to stand on the platform during this whole thing. One report mentions, and I quote, hearing whispers in the fog and footsteps echoing from an empty cabin. Witnesses say they look directly into these old rusty cars, and every single seat is empty. There is not a soul on board. Yet they can hear distinct, heavy footsteps pacing up and down the aisles of those empty cabins. Soft, indecipherable whispers seem to drift right out of the fog, literally curling around the witnesses. But you know what the most terrifying fact is? Despite the doors opening, despite the sounds of a crowd shifting and moving around inside that metal hall, no one is ever seen leaving the train. Not a single person steps onto the platform. The train simply waits, holds its invisible passengers, and then departs. So let's unpack part 3, the erased railway accident. Now, as your town historian, I couldn't just brush this off as a ghost story. I had to know why this was happening. And that brilliantly illustrates the incredibly dark truth I stumbled upon in the archives. If you look at the official town records, you're going to see a pristine, heavily edited version of our history. According to Town Hall, our railway has a flawless safety record, absolutely zero incidents. But
When I bypassed those official ledgers and really dug into the uncatalogued basement boxes, I'm talking the personal diaries of past station masters, old censored newspaper clippings, a much more horrifying reality emerged. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't just a reality, it was a tragedy. Decades ago, there was a catastrophic railway accident right here at our station, a tragedy of immense proportions. But instead of honoring the victims, the town leadership back then chose to protect the town's reputation and their financial interests. The accident was deliberately, meticulously erased from all official records. They just buried the truth.
Let's connect the dots here and link this past trauma to our modern-day nightmare. Decades ago, this tragic railway accident happens. We don't even have the exact casualty numbers because of the cover-up, but we know it involved an older model train, a lot like the rusty one that visits us today. In the years following, we see the active erasure. Records are destroyed, witnesses are silenced, and the town essentially puts its fingers in its ears and pretends nothing ever happened. But history, especially tragic history, well, it refuses to stay buried. And that brings us to the present day, where the annual 3:33 a.m. haunting begins. The town tried to erase its past, and in response, it's like the past is forcing the town to witness its arrival year after year in the dead of night.
Which leads us to part 4, an unsolved local mystery.
So, bringing us back to the present, what exactly is going on during this terrifying annual loop? Modern investigators, paranormal experts, and folks like me have basically boiled it down to 3 main hypotheses. Theory 1 is kind of your classic supernatural folklore. These are the ghosts of the erased accident. The victims, denied their history and denied their rest, return every year to the site of their demise, and their spiritual energy is what causes the electrical glitches and the fog. Makes sense, right? But then we have theory 2, time travelers caught in a loop. Some physicists who've looked at the electromagnetic anomalies, the stopped clocks, the failing cameras, they suggest this isn't supernatural at all. Instead, it's a literal tear in space-time. The train and its passengers are caught in a temporal loop from decades ago, bleeding into our present reality for just a few minutes before snapping back. And finally, we have theory 3, something far more terrifying. This theory suggests the train isn't a remnant of the past at all, but a vessel from somewhere else entirely. An ominous, unknown abyss, a cosmic anomaly just mimicking a train to interact with our world, maybe to harvest energy, or perhaps it's just waiting for a passenger.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final unresolved question to chew on. Does the train carry ghosts, time travelers, or something far, far worse? I mean, we have the historical proof of the covered-up tragedy. We have the physical proof of the failing technology and that rusty train arriving at exactly 3:33 a.m. But the ultimate truth behind those empty seats and echoing footsteps, that remains totally hidden in the fog. As a historian, it's my job to uncover the past. But some pasts, it seems, are actively haunting our present. So what do you think is on that train? I really hope this explainer has opened your eyes to the incredible and honestly terrifying history hiding right in plain sight. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the legend of Station 333. Keep questioning, keep looking for the truth, and hey, maybe just avoid the station in the early hours of the morning.